Do you ever find yourself completely exhausted just from your day-to-day tasks? Do you ever wake up in the morning and wonder if you just hit that snooze button and stayed in bed for just a few more minutes? Yeah? Okay. Now imagine if you woke up every morning knowing that your body was struggling in ways that most people couldn't even begin to fathom. You look okay, maybe even healthy, but on the inside there's an invisible war raging. One so deep and so pervasive that it drains you physically, mentally, and emotionally. What if your relationship with the very body that keeps you alive turned into a relentless struggle, one that no one could see, understand, or ultimately even believe? Too often you hear things like, well, you don't look sick. Have you tried relaxing? I hear stress can make it worse. At least it's not cancer. As if somehow these words could minimize the reality of what you experience every single day. Even simple questions like, are you a mom? Become daggers, reminding you of the choices that have been stolen from you. And while you're navigating this invisible hell, life just keeps moving on around you. Friends announce their pregnancies, joyful news that simultaneously pierces your heart. Because for you, the reality of carrying a child feels like a distant dream, if not an impossibility. Social media is now a minefield filled with endless photos of glowing parents and their newborns, reminding you of what your body seems determined to deny you. This is my story, and many others too. Maybe even yours. Right now, I have a cyst the size of a lime and about 4 others the size of cherries, a cute little fruit basket in my body. But they're not just cysts. They're tangible evidence of the years of suffering that I have endured. But let's back up for a minute. When I was 10, my life changed forever. I got my period. Now, what should have been a normal part of growing up, you guessed it, became a relentless struggle. From the very beginning, they were painful, heavy, and long. They came with a pain that I could literally feel in every single bone in my body. Now imagine being 10 and worrying about anything other than what to do with your best friend this weekend, maybe what to wear to school on Monday. When I was 10, I was worried about bleeding through pads, tampons, my pants, even bed sheets. I slept on a postpartum bed protector when I was 10 years old. Still to this day, when doctors meet me for the first time, I find them recording that this pain started when I was in my early teens. They find it too hard to record that it started when I was just 10. Now, it wasn't just the pain. Actually, that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was that I was being told time and time again that this was normal. This was part of growing up, part of becoming a woman. I feared that I was weak. Was I a hypochondriac? Was I complaining about nothing? Deep down, I knew it was something. But what I didn't know is that I wouldn't have an answer for it for over 20 years. When I was in middle school, I'll never forget the day that my vice principal called my mom and me into the office. I was wearing loose pants, managing the pain in any way that I could. And they offered us money to buy jeans, clothes that fit properly. At first, I was utterly humiliated. Of course, I was a middle schooler after all. But then, I was so angry. I was being called out of the classroom for this. So not only was I falling behind my peers because of my constant doctor's appointments, ER visits, and the days that I couldn't get out of bed, but now my educators were calling me out of the classroom to talk about my pants. This pattern of dismissal just continued. I was dismissed, ignored, misdiagnosed. My favorite was when I was told I had conditions that mysteriously cured themselves. Yeah, okay. Decades later, I finally received a proper diagnosis. Stage 4 endometriosis, and there was no cure. You see, endometriosis is a condition where the lining similar to that of the uterus grows outside of it. It can cause severe pain, organs to fuse together, can cause infertility, and many other complications. It is not just from your head to your toes, it seeps into every area of your life. It is not just a bad period. Endometriosis is a global health emergency, impacting at least 176 million worldwide. And despite its prevalence, it takes on average 8 to 10 years to get a diagnosis. Mine took 21. Now, I wish that I could tell you that getting a diagnosis was the end of my struggle, but it wasn't. After my first surgery and months and years later, the pain never subsided. You see, with this condition, any day can be a bad day. I can be struck by bladder or bowel urgency at any time. Not embarrassing at all. I can be driving in the car to the grocery store, walking, sitting on my couch, and be struck with a pain so bad that it literally folds me in half or knocks me to the ground. The unpredictability of this condition means that any day can be a bad day. Any day, at any time. You will never know how bad it will be or when it will come. So this means that you can't live a normal life. I can't work a 9 to 5. I can fill my week with care appointments alone. Chiropractor, acupuncture, physical therapy, pelvic floor therapy, talk therapy, just to stay functional. I've had to navigate friendships where people don't understand why sometimes I have to cancel plans last minute, or why I don't drink or stay out late, or why I'm so intense about the food that I eat. They don't realize that these are not choices I've made. These are choices that have been stolen from me. I've struggled with OCD, anxiety, depression, and a fear of being a burden on my loved ones. I have cried, I can't do this anymore, into my husband's chest far too many times. But what do I want you to take away from this story? Well, it's not just my story. It's the story of at least 176 million. The statistics are staggering. I know them all too well. On average, those with endo lose 10 hours of productivity each week. That equates to a loss of $119 billion in the US economy alone. Not to mention the likelihood of our sisters having endo is 2 to 3 times higher, perpetuating the cycle of suffering. Not to mention the 50% infertility rate. Most of us struggle, and many of us never get pregnant at all. Now, despite all of this, many are not diagnosed at all, still left suffering in silence. Many are misdiagnosed, like I have been. It's not just about the physical pain. It's about the roller coaster of emotions. It's the never-ending financial burden. It's a continuous fight for validation and proper care. It's about having to make decisions based on cost rather than what's best for your health. Just last year, the pain got worse. I did not think this was possible, but here we were. After many doctor's appointments and thousands of dollars, I learned that the cyst was growing larger and starting to adhere to my organs. I was told that if I ever wanted to have children, I would need to quickly do an IVF retrieval, a second endosurgery, and an IVF transfer. Of course, at first, I was utterly shook. I was shocked, surprised, angry, mad, all of these emotions. But then they told me, oh, you also need a colorectal surgeon because your intestines have started to fuse to the top of your bladder and uterus. Okay. Oh, but you also have adenomyosis. You see, conditions like this seem to collect friends. So of course I was angry, but I realized quickly that I wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked because this just seems to keep happening. Thankfully, I've learned how to take care of myself. I've learned to get really loud and demand what I need. I've learned that you hire your doctors, so if one isn't the right fit for you, you fire them and find someone who is. I've also learned the power of community. Suffering in silence is like putting yourself in solitary confinement, one of the cruelest punishments that we know. So I no longer do it. Instead, I choose to be 100% honest and transparent with my community so they can be there for me and I can be there for them. All of that has made me feel just a little less crazy. I hope that you've learned today that this is not just my story. It's the story of at least 176 million. So here's my call to action for all of you. Doctors, please listen to your patients. And if you don't get it, that's okay. Dig deeper. You can start right now by making a referral network of endo experts that you trust. Parents, painful periods are not normal. Please learn the signs and symptoms, even if you think you don't have to. Just learn them and advocate for your child. Everyone with a uterus, it's time for us to start talking about all of our experiences in our bodies. I know it's going to be uncomfortable, but we have to talk about our periods. Everyone without a uterus, I know that you know this impacts you too. So please just have an open mind and be a part of these conversations too. Can every single one of us please stop asking people if and when they will have children? It is absolutely devastating for those of us that don't have a choice. So instead, make sure that your community knows that they can come to you and you will be that safe place where they can show up transparently, be honest, and that you'll believe them and hold space for them. Partners, I know it hurts that you can't fix this, but you can bring us a warm cup of tea, the heating pad, and remind us to breathe. Again, this is not just my story, and this is not just my fight. This is our fight. You probably know someone living with this cruel disease right now. Honestly, you probably know many of us. It's 1 in 10 women. Think about it for a moment. Who do you know who's experienced infertility? Who do you know who has painful periods? Who do you love that is suffering with some invisible, incurable condition? Who hasn't told you and is suffering in silence? It is time for the world, for each and every one of us, to start paying attention so no one has to suffer in silence anymore. It is time to end endo. Thank you.